Good afternoon. It is 1:37 p.m. on a Tuesday. I'm coming to you from my kitchen. I just got back from my walk and saw a package on my front door, and it is the ingredients for a gluten-free, low-carb flour that is supposed to be just as good as all-purpose flour for baking. Now, those of you that know me as a baker know that I'm known for my desserts, specifically cakes and I like to make little miniature desserts, but I'm known for my sweets, and I have been for many years, but I've been in a uncomfortable relationship with sugar, meaning that sometimes sugar is not a good thing. And it has been called white death. It's been called, you see it with the skull and crossbones on it. Sugar has very much become a villain, and I will say that it is very, very much overused. We are consuming way, way, way more sugar than we need, and life has gotten easier in many ways. You know, we have automatic washing machines, automatic dishwashers, we have cars, that where you just have to push a pedal instead of having to get out and walk. That's why I've made it a point to walk whenever I can, and to walk daily if possible. But back to my this flour recipe, I've not done it before, but it's made with ground almonds, egg white protein powder, so just egg whites dehydrated and turned into a powder. So ground almonds, egg whites, and oat fiber. And anyone that's ever followed the ketogenic diet or keto knows that when you're counting carbohydrates and there's fiber involved, every gram of fiber basically erases every gram of fiber takes away 1 gram of sugar or carb, because the fiber is what keeps you full. It's what is in oats, fibrous vegetables. We know what fiber is, but I've never made this recipe before, and now that I'm thinking about it, I bet one of those ingredients is missing. I think the way it was shipped, I got it from Amazon. They were going to be, oh no, I only bought 2 things because I already had my almond flour. I bet I do have everything to make this flour. I'm very excited about this. I'm going to whip it up, and my first item of business that I'm going to make is raisin scones, and I'm making them for someone that is very dear to me. This person was a customer that I served in a coffee shop that I worked in 1998. Actually, in 1995 through 1999, I believe. I was there about 7 years, I think. But at that time, I was in my early 20s. I had 1 child. I was hired on there as their baker. The guy that hired me said, "Your job is to make this bakery case look phenomenal." And I thought, I can do that. But I was always rather disappointed because all the baking I did was from pre-made ingredients. Like, we had cinnamon rolls, muffins, and scones, but they were all pre-made. I didn't do any of the mixing from scratch, so I kind of felt like I was cheating. Like, I used an ice cream scooper to make the muffins. But I also knew how to run the oven and rotate the pans and, make sure that they were baked properly so that when the muffins came out, they had that nice peak, like a mushroom top, or like they had the nice peak in the middle rather than flattened Smurf houses is what we called the blueberry muffins when, I knew the tricks. I knew how to bake. I studied it. I was going to college for it. Actually, I had went to culinary school and had to, I was not able to finish culinary school because I became pregnant with my second son. So let me rephrase that. I had both of my children when I worked at this coffee shop. Wow, time flies. But I understood the science of baking. I had spent many years teaching myself. I used to joke that while other women were taking romance novels to bed, I was taking cookbooks to bed and reading, how to make a perfect cheesecake so it doesn't crack, and, the science, how to measure. So I put in the time and the research and the practice and became good at baking and known for it. It was kind of my thing. But as we get older, especially as we get older. It doesn't even have to be when we're older, but we all know the dangers of what happens when you overeat sugar. You know, it can be detrimental to your health. And I think I kind of got away with, well, I don't have diabetes, I'm fine. But now a good deal of my friends and family and coworkers and such, more people that I know are dealing with either diabetes, or their doctors told them they need to reduce their sugar intake, or they want to follow a ketogenic lifestyle in which you avoid sugars. I personally had my most successful weight loss using both food combining and avoiding white flour, white sugar, and processed foods, going back to natural foods. That requires that you spend time in your kitchen. So it does take discipline. It takes, you know, if not discipline, a strong desire to want to do it. So I've been telling myself it's time to get back into that again. But baking, as much as I love it, I've never been able to find a good flour substitute or a good sugar substitute that I could honestly say was a good substitute. But now I think I have. It's called monk fruit. I get the monk fruit I use. Hold on one second. This is my sweetener of choice, monk fruit. It tastes to me like sugar, and maybe it doesn't to everyone else, because I know working in restaurants, we have the pink and the blue sweetener, and now it's the pink and the yellow. But the different it used to be just pink or blue, you know, and some people found the one bitter and the one sweet, and the other people found. So obviously our taste buds are different. I can't promise you that you're gonna love monk fruit the way I do, but as a baker, it's number one. It's been number one, and I know that sugar behaves differently in different recipes, and you know, if it's just a sweetener, you can substitute almost anything you like. But when it comes to baking is a science. It is a science. And when you're, you know, something like scones, which is going to be my first thing I'm going to make, I call them sweet biscuits. It's like they're a little sweeter than a biscuit, but they're not as sweet as like a donut. So if you want something that's kind of sweet but not overly sweet, a scone would be good, but they're full of white flour. And this is this recipe that I'm going to be making with the ground almonds, egg whites, and oat fiber. I'm really excited. Like I can see how it's structurally going to work, because egg whites are a protein, and they'll give that structure that you need to make, you know, how biscuits rise, how things rise. That's trapped fat, which is, you know, biscuits and scones have the butter cut in, and I'm going to use real butter because that's okay on the ketogenic way of eating, the pure fats. So it'll be a high fat, high protein scone instead of a high fat, high carbohydrate scone. So it will metabolize very different than the traditional one made with white flour. And I personally believe that it's going to work. I'm really excited. I've asked my friend, he's like I said, an old customer who used to come in and order raisin scones, because that was his favorite. I said, I'm going to make these with this new flour, and I need you to be my taste tester, because if anyone knows how a good scone is, it would be him. So I'm going to use that as my first trial run for this new flour. And if it works out, I can see this turning into me, like the person I got the recipe from. I'll have to do another video and acknowledge her name, because I'm not thinking of it, because she has her own YouTube channel and she created this flour, so I want to give her credit for that. But she said, dust off your old cookbooks and do some recipes that you haven't been able to do because you didn't have the right flour. And I'm thinking, oh, cinnamon rolls, chocolate malt cake, like all the things I used to sell at the diner, like, could I really make those again and them look and taste just as good or better? Because some things I honestly prefer without real sugar, with like monk fruit or almond flour, some things, but not everything. So I will have to get back with you on how this turns out. I most certainly am planning on it. I'm biting at the bit to break into this Amazon box to see what I got. So at that, I'll shut this off and I will get back to you soon. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.